In today's video, I want to go over exactly how you guys can improve your W keying and overall fighting within this brand new chapter. Now, I have gone over this topic in the past, but as you guys know, the meta and the overall way that people fight has changed quite a bit. And I think that the players have evolved to the point where you need to really perfect a lot of things in order to actually win all of these fights and stand out from the rest of the competition. Now, be sure to use code Sonata YT in the Fortnite item shop if you guys do want to support me. Let's hop right into this video. So I want to begin by going over some things that you need to perfect before you actually start fighting regularly in these arena and competitive games. Now, first off, you guys need to perfect your mechanics. And this is primarily your in-game mechanics, which is going to be your building, your editing, and your piece control. Now, the reason that you need to perfect these three mechanics is because these are the things that are going to help you win the fights by out-building and out-editing the opponent by piecing them up and then trying to get them into a position where you have the offensive advantage. Something that I find quite difficult is actually improving all of these mechanics past the level of the place where most players are. A lot of players are able to do these fancy retakes and crazy edits and hit these crazy clips, but a lot of people aren't actually able to use these mechanics in proper application when it comes to individual fights. They're not able to do every single piece control tactic in Raiders map. They're not able to actually go through a piece control edit course untouched and not mess up at all. You need to get to the point where you're able to do all of these various different drills in Raiders map and all of these edit courses for the piece control practice without making any errors, and then I'm thinking that you're probably ready to start fighting very competitively in the actual game. Not only will this improve your piece control, but also, like I said, your building and your editing, which all three of those things kind of go hand in hand, which is why I included them as one kind of mechanic. Now, the next mechanic you definitely need to improve is your aim. Now, a lot of people seem to overlook how important training your aim actually is. A lot of pro players do it, especially if they're on controller, because it's really important. However, something that I think that a lot of people fail to understand is that aim training doesn't make just you a better player. It makes you think as a better player as well, because it makes you see opportunities where you're able to actually get bonus damage on the opponents because you just know that you're able to actually hit those shots and you're going to actually take them this time. You're not going to be tentative at any point to shoot your gun and give away your position because you know that you're going to actually hit your shots. Maybe when you're creeping up on somebody with an AR, or you're in a situation where they don't see you with your SMG and you can get a nice beam on them, you're now going to be more confident to take those shots. And then, as a result, once you get into an actual box fight scuffle with them, if you do have to get into the point where you're in an aim duel with this player, you're going to easily be able to win that because you've been aim training and you know exactly how to shoot, where to aim, and how to position. I'd recommend you guys practice three primary types of aim. You should practice tracking, flicking, and target switching. If you guys want a more in-depth review of exactly how to train your aim, be sure to check out my aim train video in the top right corner. But once again, aim is very important. Do not skip out on it. None of the pros skip out on it. And you guys definitely need to consider training your aim as much as possible. And now the third and final mechanic I'd recommend you guys try to perfect before you actually get into understanding how to fight, that's going to be your movement. Now, this is one of the most overlooked, if not the most overlooked mechanical aspect of Fortnite. Something that the pros do different than anybody else is that they have absolutely incredible movement to make sure that they don't get hit and make sure that they can always get the competitive advantage on their opponent. Now, what I would recommend you do in order to actually practice your movement is that you do stuff like movement courses. You can do Coach Jazz's, that's probably my favorite. You really understand exactly what your perfect sensitivity and overall movement settings are. Definitely abuse the double movement settings either in-game or in the looting software. It's really important that you're actually able to do this and actually learn how to move correctly, because once you're able to move correctly, not only will your fighting improve at an insane rate, but your ability to stay alive and actually survive off of somebody pushing you is definitely going to help as well. So movement's definitely really important. You guys definitely need to perfect that. But let's move on to actually understanding the different types of fights. Now I want to go over exactly what the different types of fights are in competitive Fortnite. Now, I'd recommend that you guys understand these three different types. The first one's going to be aggressive. Now, an aggressive fight is where you push in regardless of the situation and you win the fight by using smart piece control and abusing your good mechanics. This includes your aim as well. Now, a lot of times you'll see a lot of controller players being very good at this playstyle, considering the fact that they have aim assist to help them out when they are aiming, and that they actually are able to move better, they're able to have better piece control. Overall, controller players are pretty much the main proponents of this. However, you might see some keyboard and mouse players such as Noah Riley, such as Click sometimes doing this. It's actually a pretty smart technique. However, you need to understand exactly what an aggressive fight means. What an aggressive fight basically means, guys, is that when you're in a position that you're good on loot, you're good on health, you're good on mats, you know and you are confident that you can push into an area regardless of how much health and what items the enemy has, and you can win the fight just by out-aiming them, out-building them, or getting them in a piece control situation where you're going to win. Now, I would not recommend this playstyle for people who are very new to competitive or even pretty experienced in competitive, because there are some players that are absolutely crazy and there is still a margin for error. The aggressive playstyle is only really good for those of you guys that have really a lot of confidence in all of your mechanics and that you're really confident you can pretty much beat almost any player in these mechanical fights. The issue is that if you lose these fights, it's not only going to tilt your mentality, which is going to ruin the rest of your tournament, it's going to really just cause you to get eliminated, and then you're not going to have enough points to win the tournament or to even qualify for anything that you're playing. Now that's the aggressive playstyle. I wouldn't recommend it to everybody, but I still think it's valuable to learn. Now the next playstyle is obviously the defensive playstyle. This is when either you're being W keyed or somebody is near you and they decide to W key you, and you're trying to play defensive but still win the fight and get the elimination. Now obviously there's the option to disengage, but this is more focused on if you're actually taking the fight. So overall, there's pretty much 4 tips that I would highly recommend that you guys absolutely study to learn how to win these fights. First off, you should always be playing in 2 boxes if you can. Now what I mean by this is that let's say that you're boxed up and somebody decides to W key you, extend out a box and make sure that you have multiple different angles to actually attack from. You need to make sure that you have all of these different angles to attack from and then wait for the right moment to attack. Once you're boxed up, the way you wait for the right moment is that you need to understand where they're positioned, where you can get good piece control on them, where they're out of position, and where you're most likely to actually hit them without them hitting you. You need to understand the angles of peanut butter edits, how to cone somebody, how to make sure you box somebody up, how to get somebody in a situation where they can't escape, and you have pretty much every single piece around them. And then is when you need to understand the right time to actually shoot. The best time is when you have control over the opponent or you have a position in which you can hit them, but they can't hit you. Then you need to get some damage done, and then you need to turn into the aggressive player in the fight as soon as you have done some damage. Once you're aggressive, not only will you be able to win the fight, but you're also going to be able to gain a competitive advantage in terms of the amount of mats that you have. Because as you extend more and more, you're going to be able to extend more and more, and then you eliminate the opponent and then get their materials. Likely what will also happen is that if you were able to hit them first, your fight may attract the attention of other people. However, your health is still going to be pretty high considering the fact that you did not get hit for anything because you took the right angles and waited for the right time to engage. This means that you can turn your one defensive kill into a series of other kills if you choose, or you can once again disengage back into your original box and then continue playing defensive for the rest of the game. Overall, defensive fights are very solid for new players. They're actually a really good way to learn how to be aggressive considering that you play defensive at the start and then play aggressive at the end. They're a very solid way of playing. And now obviously the third and final type of fight is going to be the hybrid fight. Now this is the type of fight where you're not actually concerned with getting elimination points. However, if you see an opportunity to get a free elimination, you'll definitely push it. Or if you see a defensive opportunity to play defensive and then go aggressive, you'll definitely do that as well. Now hybrid fight when you're playing offensively is what I'd recommend you only push in after doing damage to your opponent. For example, let's say that you're running in an open field and then there's an opponent around 50 meters away from you and they don't see you, but you see them, and you decide to get a beam on them. Then you push in and win the fight. That's exactly what a hybrid fight would be. The same thing can be said for a defensive hybrid fight. Let's say that you're in your box and then somebody decides to push in on you, and you decide that you're going to start aggressing them before they can aggress you properly, and you just end up winning the fight like that as well. A hybrid fight is where you need to be sure to apply pressure and definitely maintain that pressure throughout the fight. A lot of good players like Mr. Savage are very popular using hybrid playstyles. The hybrid fight is very solid for those of you that want to try to play endgame but also try to get elimination points and just basically make the best of both worlds. Very solid for all around, all levels of players. As long as you know exactly what you're doing and you have your mechanics well sorted out, you're definitely going to succeed in hybrid fights. Anyways guys, that is the video on the 3 different types of fights and exactly how to win on them and what to improve. I really did enjoy making this video. Fighting is probably one of my favorite aspects of the game, and I think in the next video I'm going to be going over fighting IQ and going over some players that I really enjoy watching. Be sure to stay tuned for that video. I'm very excited to make it and I've already gotten it in the works. But that's about it for this video guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys.